So what my point was, first of all, I can understand why we had to start over again because when your Data's probably very nervous having me here.
He is.
A
Well,
veteran
you have,
podcaster.
Award-winning podcaster.
A veteran
in this,
award-winning podcaster.
venue, so-
you have an aura.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's more
That's
of a
the
smell.
sweat. No, that is the sweat. It's a gleam from my bald head.
All right. So, hey, everybody. Guess what? Are we on 37? Is that what we're at?
It's a good possibility.
Episode 37, Sad Dad's Club podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. I got some news. Last week we talked about being included in iHeartRadio, which is really cool. We see you guys in the stats, believe it or not.
Nice.
But we were also picked up this week by radio.com, which is kind of cool. So you can get us everywhere now. Google, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify.
This is my favorite part of the show, by the way. Very exciting.
Let's roll through all
I know.
those.
Don't you always say like, okay?
Yo, everyone knows where to find them.
And
You know
actually,
what I mean?
they're listening right now. That's the part I love.
They know, bro.
but
they
maybe
came
they
here
don't
already.
know.
My
They
favorite
use
part.
their
My favorite
vessel
part
of
is when
device,
people
bro.
in podcasts say, for those of just joining us, it's like, no, you've been listening the whole time. Or are there people that are like, you know what, I'm just going to jump to about 15 minutes in, and I'm
this
going to say,
is
what's going on?
Their first show. Maybe this is their first show.
Actually,
But they
that would
found
be
us already.
exactly.
Maybe this is their first show,
here.
and they want to email us at saddadsclubpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
Dude, okay, you can say that,
That's
but
what
you don't.
thanks.
You can tell them, hey,
I
you know,
love how
maybe
the-
they're on iTunes and they're like, you know what, dude, I freaking hate iTunes. And you can say, you know what, dude, we're on radio.
I love how the
and
asshole
other thing,
production
bro,
crew.
you know what I'm saying, dude? And
I
then
love
they're
how
like, oh, cool,
he
I can listen on my
try
favorite
to determine
one.
what I say on my show.
I remember when he didn't talk much on the show.
It was better. Remember what Jim Rome used to say?
What?
Less of you and more of me.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel about the
It was
same.
funny because I remember one time when I was like, man, it would be neat to hear more from Datas. And then I
He's
remember like,
get
oh,
this guy
maybe no.
the freaking hell out of here.
Yeah.
So those of you not in the know, also some other news is that Fu is on vacation with his wife and our other person, Mike, who's been on the show a couple times, and his girlfriend, and they are in the UK going to the Isle of Man TT to see some bike racing and do some other stuff. And so he is out of town, and so we have a special, to me especially,
Oh, that's very sweet.
we have a very special co-host this week, Tony Overbay. He is the a guy I've known forever.
How long has it been, for real?
I mean, I started at Charismac in '96,
Okay.
so that's
He's
when we
checking
would
his
have met.
stats over there.
Oh, he is trying to go live. That's what he's trying to do. And I'm not good at this part of the podcasting. I got to tell you.
So since '96, 96.
96 is when we met?
Yeah,
I
that's
knew
when
this.
I got when you and Weiler hired me at Charismatic.
Was that part of your interview?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did I say very intelligent things?
Oh, probably.
Do you need Wi-Fi
I don't
over
doubt
there,
it.
or do you have unlimited?
I got unlimited.
Okay, cool. We're just,
Okay, do I? Checking the connection right now. Okay, we're about to go live. So, do you remember the interview?
A little bit here and there, not a lot of. I don't remember like the dialogue that we had,
Right.
but I remember having the interview and sitting in that little front room
Yeah.
and talking to you guys and lying my ass off.
Well, I remember. We didn't really have many candidates, so it was kind of like. So it was like, all right, this guy will do.
That's
right?
great to know now.
Yeah.
But I basically built a career off of that.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all right.
It's impressive.
So Tony and I, for those not in the know, have known each other for a long time, and we have traveled the world together
Literally.
and shared rooms, but not beds because
It's true.
I wouldn't. Tony always wanted to, and I wouldn't.
Is not correct. Do you remember when we would travel with the whole team?
Oh, yeah.
There was one person that no one wanted to room with, and why?
Log?
Yes.
Because he snored?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a snorer now.
Oh, okay.
you can hear this guy in the whole house.
No, so this
Oh,
is, I
yeah.
think here's one of those things I remember from you. You would say to me, and I remember this very well. You would say, "I only snore when I'm tired." And I was like, "Okay, but isn't that what we do every evening? We get tired and we go to sleep."
Did I snore all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, I snore.
Yeah.
I've pretty much been a snorer, I think, since like high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get that out in the open.
Okay. Hey, we can process that.
I
Jim.
know.
How do you feel about that?
I'm happy yet sad about it at the same time.
I can understand.
Yeah.
Ask me how I feel.
I was about to say something not very therapeutic.
Well, all right. So another thing you should know about Tony is while I met him in the computer tech industry, he has moved on and started a couple companies on his own. One of them not techie at all.
Wait, which one?
Very not techie. I mean, not techie from a standpoint of nuts and bolts.
Oh.
But techie from a standpoint of what they did with
Yeah, it
those
was
nuts and
kinda
bolts.
clever.
Kind of
Yeah,
clever.
yeah.
But then also now is a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
Which I always say is the rapist.
You know what's funny? When I see I have a magazine called Therapist, and once you see the word as
The
that,
rapist?
it's
Yeah.
you can't not see it.
I
That
was
I
like,
know.
what are you saying?
No,
And then I
and
put
it's
two and
horrible
two
because
together.
in my profession, I mean, it's not a positive thing. So,
No, that's a terrible thing.
yeah, but yeah, so licensed marriage and family
So
therapist.
yeah, and also in addition to that, has his own podcast called The Virtual Couch.
Yeah.
They've
That
probably
is
already
going
heard of it before us,
gangbusters.
though. It's
I know I felt a little bit braggy here before when we were talking
Well,
about it.
I mean, you've been around a while.
A little bit, 130 something episodes.
And you're, what Datas and I call pro-y, which means you're pro. You think you're pro.
Exactly. I've got that one mic that everybody has that makes you really cool, the Yeti.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you have a
Snowball?
Yeti?
Yeah. I have both. I have a Snowball and a Yeti.
Oh,
Yeah.
we just have these Audio Technicas.
They're very cool.
Are those different? The Yeti and the Snowball?
I mean, they look different.
Do they make you sound smarter?
No.
They don't do anything.
No, I got one of these little filters. I think that kind of did it. Then I
Oh,
started
the
to sound
pop
really
screen.
smart.
Those
Yeah.
are pop screens.
Yeah.
So when you go, they're not as bad.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, it's funny. I bought all my equipment before I had any idea what I needed for podcasting. So I actually have a mixing board that I've never used, and then I've got 2 microphones, and I've got all kinds of
You
stuff.
just jack into your computer straight in.
Oh yeah.
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 So you're micing into the 1/4 inch or the
USB,
3/8
huh?
1/4 inch,
3/8
half inch, whatever it takes.
the 3/8.
I don't know what that means.
I deserve that.
Thank you.
I deserve that.
It's USB, right? Your
Sure.
mic? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's a USB.
No, it
mic.
is. I do know that much.
It's like shoot.
Well, you're
I'm asking
typically
the wrong
recording. I mean, you have guests.
Yes. I try to do 1 episode a week that's me and some mental health topic, and I try to have a guest on once a week as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically you're just recording yourself. So one mic to your machine is not.
Yeah. And then most of my guests are remote, so I do it through Zoom, and so they've got their mic and everything records all nice.
And so Zoom has a channel that it comes in on GarageBand.
Well, it comes in an audio file, and I have to import it into
Oh,
GarageBand.
interesting.
Datas, are you following all that? It's very techy.
Well, he doesn't. He does our
Persistently
video
booting.
stuff.
I gotcha.
I edit all the audio, and then I provide him a master file, and then he syncs everything together in Final Cut Pro.
It's impressive.
It's
Have you seen the YouTube channel?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I even subscribed.
Now, do you?
I know
You have YouTube.
I was gonna say this is embarrassing, right? Because you're like,
Are
well, I
you-
probably should know.
No. You have YouTube also.
Yeah.
You,
It's
you're
only like 60 videos up there, Jimmy. I'm sure you've subscribed.
I've listened to your show a couple times.
A couple out of the 133. I've listened to all the Sad Dads Club's podcast.
Dude, what do you have
He's
to say?
roast.
that?
He's roasted
Yeah.
me.
Dude, nice lamb.
Well, it is funny though because I don't know
Respect.
why, but I just assume. But why would you want to listen to episodes on borderline personality disorder on you know, right?
That's what I mean, not all of your shows are pertinent to everybody.
How dare you?
I mean, I have a personality disorder,
This
and
guy's digging holes.
I know,
man.
right?
Put the shovel down.
Award-winning podcast. Do you know what I could do for him, Datas?
no.
One mention, and he has millions of downloads.
Oh god, that's the only reason why you're here.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
It took
Tony's the
30-something
Steve
episodes.
Jobs
When
of
you used to
podcasts.
reach out to me and say, like, hey, what do you know about podcasting? I'm like, I wonder if he'll have me on the second one or the third one. 37.
We had to make
Well-
37 mistakes before we had to have the
Oh,
master
look at
on.
you. That was well done.
yeah,
You've taught the boy well.
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, he knows what's up.
I know. Do you know, I remember, do you know what I remember I called Datas in my head? It had to do with the video you made when he was a tiny man.
Triangle Man.
Triangle Man.
You know, that video I have not been able to find.
Really?
I cannot find it.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Chandler was 8 months old. He walked.
Uh-huh.
You videoed it, and then I felt less than about all of my kids as it took them over a year to walk. Do you know that, Chandler? You caused me a lot of distress.
I'm just, I'm an early
Yeah.
learner. I'm
Yeah, but look at
involved,
him now.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Missing teeth.
I feel, I think this is part of the steps back. It's like however many steps forward and however many steps back.
No,
this
that's a
is
good
the
point.
back ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We'll get there eventually.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, he just turned 22. What do you expect?
That's a good point. That's wild, though, because I remember when you guys had him.
Yeah, I remember freaking out and telling everybody.
I do remember that
oh,
as well.
my Lord, that was...
He still doesn't know what to do. That's why I'm here tonight. Jim, welcome to a parenting intervention. Tonight's
wow.
topic is the nurtured heart parenting approach.
Little do you know, Tony and I have been texting.
Oh, for
Oh.
years.
Yeah.
For years, he's like, "Can you teach my
Is that
dad?"
part of the 18,000 text messages he did in a single month?
Yeah,
I kind of want to know
How
I
many of
still
those
do,
were you?
though,
a lot. Yeah.
At least.
No. So
For-
the truth is, I was never going to do a podcast, and then he's reaching out to me, dated his a couple years ago, and he's like, "Can you help my dad? You're a therapist, right?" And I'm saying, "Sure. I mean, I can do this, but I can't make it obvious because your dad won't listen." So I said, "Here's the deal. What if I create a podcast? I get about 130 something episodes in. You guys start one, and then I come on, and then we talk about parenting techniques." And I was like,
Wow.
"Chandler, that's
Brilliant.
genius."
That is
And you know
that
what?
is-
Jason was in on it too
I
because
know
it was his idea.
I know. And then I was like, "When can I come in?"
Yeah.
And he's like, I was like, "You got to go to Europe. You know, if you go down the street, he's not going to
Dude,
buy
he
this."
paid for the TT trip.
Trust me, this
Like
cost
he
me
said, so, you know,
thousands
get 3
of
other
dollars
people.
just to
cruise
tell
over
you,
there.
"Come on, man, you got to be a better dad."
I know.
It's never too late.
I'm a terrible dude.
Yeah, I even came up with the name.
Hence sad dads. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there at that.
Why do you
Chevron.
think it's called sad?
No, I was
Dad?
at the Chevron, and I had just been in there, and I saw you guys out there. I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I mean, some of it's planned.
Did you slide the guy that worked behind the counter
I did.
$5?
Oh,
or-
more than I had to do a lot more than $5.
Oh,
But so the thing is, like, that one, I'll admit the rest was planned, but the name, that one was just pure serendipitous. I happened to be there. It was very late, and then I see you guys pull up, and I'm like, "This is my chance." And I'm like, "Hey, those are a bunch of sad dads." And he's like, "No, these are guys out having fun. They're playing a game." And I was like, "No, they're really sad."
Look at him.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Well, actually,"
And then I went in for some chocolate milk, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And now is the time.
Here we are.
Now I can finally
All
have
of
a
this.
good dad.
Exactly.
I don't have to see a therapist anymore.
That's right. By the way, Jim, you owe me about $3,000.
Yeah, put it on my card.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, are we recording?
Um,
I hope so.
I hope he checks.
yeah, we're good. We're
Good.
good on all
Oh
3.
my
areas
gosh.
of
Okay.
recording.
Are we recording?
Yeah. Hey, well, I've been
Like,
looking
we've
forward
never
to
done this
storyline.
before.
No.
I've never forgot to do that. There's been times where the cameras have failed.
Yeah.
We did record, but never-
Yeah, we did have one episode that didn't make YouTube.
Oh, so I heard you were saying the file was corrupted, and
That's what
Yeah.
he claims.
I even tried to upload it last week. Still doesn't work.
is that the same? Like, oh, I didn't get your email. I mean, is that kind of a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it might be in my junk mail
Oh,
folder.
what text message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just,
Speaking of email, do you
That's
know
all
what's
I
funny
know.
to me is I think back of when we started working together,
Uh-huh.
and do you remember the state of the tech? We had a CompuServe email address, I believe.
We had CompuServe and AOL.
Yeah.
And I got tasked with checking both of those for our support messages.
right, and that was okay. Man, are we ready to just like jump in?
And
Go.
we had Apple. We had the Apple. What was the Apple form?
Newton?
No. They had the email service. The Apple. We had that too. You checked that.
Did I really?
Yeah, it was Apple.
Did I like it? I don't remember this.
I don't know if you liked it.
Okay,
or
do you know
not.
what the story that I'm dying to get
Okay,
to though?
let's
That this
get
has
to
hit me. Do you
Oh, I know exactly what story.
tech support?
But no, this did not come from those. This came from the Apple one.
Oh no, I got a different story.
Oh.
Okay, mine was. Do you remember we had a tech support guy we loved, Jason?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this one? So
Yes.
we would do the thing where he would get off a phone call. People used phones back in the day.
Oh God, yes.
And you and I don't know if we had just were improv or if we had done it before.
No, this was the first time.
Okay, then it was brilliant because all of a sudden, I don't know if it was you or me. I'm going to take credit. So then I say, "Hey, Jason, did you just tell that guy you love him?" And then Jim, you're like, I heard that too,
Yeah.
right?"
Oh, yeah.
And Jason's like, "What?" And he had just gotten married.
It
So
wasn't like we planned it.
No.
It was just we
Oh,
just
I
picked
see.
up where it happened.
And he's just like,
me
"No, I
either.
didn't. You guys are messing with me." And we're like, "No, dude, for real, like you told him
hung
it
up
was a guy,
yeah.
right?"
And
you're
you
like,
said I love you, and you hung up the phone.
and then I think then you start going in like, "Hey, that's kind of not very professional."
Yeah.
Like that, And then did he call back? Did he call the guy back, or did we finally tell him?
He
guys
was
should've
worried.
definitely
We let
let
him
him
go
call
for a
back.
while.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it was weeks later
Yeah.
that we
They were
told.
like,
oh
yeah.
yeah, no, you didn't actually.
Do you know what's funny though? I still to this day sometimes like
I'm
I'll be
doing that to
I'll-
Chuck,
well,
dude.
I'll be texting somebody and when I end texting my wife, it's always love you. And there's a couple of times where I've had to go back and check that I just tell a client that I love them. Yeah.
Did you?
I haven't yet.
I've done. Okay, so when I started working at AJ Video,
Hmm.
I started in tech support, and I started doing that to people there.
Oh, did you like that? Did you say
You'd hear the phone hang up, and then over the wall, I'd go, "Did you just say I love you?"
It's good.
I don't think so. I'm like, I heard you just say I love you.
That's really funny.
So I carried that forward.
Okay. All right. What were you thinking of? The story that you were thinking of?
Oh, I was thinking of my Korean guy.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Remember that one?
Was he real or did we make him up?
No, he was real.
That's
He
right.
sent a message to the Apple link.
You're
I
right.
think.
Oh, Apple Link. That's what it was.
Yeah.
D4387 or something was
Yeah.
our Apple Link ID.
Yeah.
I have buried that memory.
I think it went to Apple Link.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was.
because
Korean
you
guy.
could edit it,
Yeah.
and I think you
Did I start messing with it?
I think you started messing with, and you did it to Jason again.
Yeah.
Korean guy,
Yeah.
but at first it was real, the Korean guy, but then you would edit it and send it
Next
back.
topic.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Remember? Oh, hold on, I got this one.
Okay.
Remember? I was sitting in my cube, and you were looking at me from the corner of the crack that was like this big with your one eye, and I shot you right in your fucking eyeball with a rubber band through the slot that was this big.
Yeah. I actually, it looks like
why
I'm
he's
fine
wearing
now.
glasses,
Right? Yeah, it damaged my cornea. That was hilarious, right? I didn't learn about till a decade later when I then got in a car accident because I couldn't see out of that side, and I was like, "Doggone Jim," you know.
That imprint of that band,
Yeah,
the rubber band on my eyeball.
No, I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was really bad. Oh, good times.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I remember that office being such a piece of shit that before I even worked there, you would go back to where the engineers were working, and there was a hole in the ceiling from where Gamelgard had put his foot through the ceiling.
I do remember because he was up. Yeah,
He was up moving boxes or
Yeah.
something and put the.
Foot
Oh
went
my
through.
god!
Yeah, that was a rough
And then
time.
I remember coming to work one time, and it just smelled like death, and there was a dead rat behind one of the partitions.
Oh.
Didn't you guys break a Corvette?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes,
may
we-
he rest in peace so we can tell this story, right?
Oh, is he gone now?
Yeah.
I
I
was
loved it.
wondering.
I actually went to lunch with him a couple times. I literally today talked about him in a therapy session.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mr. G was our
Yeah.
bookkeeper, and a guy was talking about finances or whatever, and I said, my bookkeeper used to
I'm
say
surpri-
it was as long as you got more in the Gazenta than the Gazauta.
I say that all the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
And same old 6 and 2.
Yep. I still don't know what it means.
I think I actually asked somebody one time, and
Is
I
it
think
8
it means
hours?
8 hours in a day. So
Okay.
what are you up to? Same old 6 and 2 means like the same day.
Okay.
So Mr. G brought this brand new Corvette to the building.
Black.
Yeah.
Beautiful car.
50 miles on it, maybe.
Uh-huh. And he hadn't been to the office much.
No.
He came in the office,
Oh man.
and he brought that car. And Tony says, "Hey, Mr. G, do you mind if Jim and I take it out for a spin?"
Right now,
That's ballsy, first of all.
Well,
It's
I
like,
didn't-
Paper plates, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He only had it like a week or
yeah,
something.
it was. And now is your memory that you broke it, or do you
Oh,
think?
well,
do you
I
think
think
I
we
broke
both.
it?
I think we both broke it, but I was in the car when the hose blew.
Yeah. So Mr. G said,
I was in the driver's
Mr.
seat.
G said, "Don't get it up above like 60 miles an hour." We're like, okay.
And,
And
there was a frontage road
Yeah.
that was right next to Highway 80.
Yep. Exactly.
And Tony got in it first, and he ripped down the.
See, my memory is I drove like an old woman going to
Oh
church.
yeah, you did.
That's not the case?
You even had a dress on.
Okay. All right. Now.
was there room for
I
your
think
purse?
you were getting ready to. We were getting ready to go out of
Anyway,
town.
then Jim gets in it after I had been so careful with that car.
Absolutely.
Because I respected
Oh.
Mr. Gandy like nobody's business.
Yeah, I'm surprised there was anything left of him with all
And
that
Jim said,
skin
"Let me
cancer.
in there," and I'm like, "Come on, man, be cool, all right."
And I just gave it all that
You really
motor
did.
had.
You really did.
And by the time we got it back to the office, there was
I can remember.
just coolant bellowing out of it.
And we walked away. We're like, maybe he won't notice.
We were like, oh shit.
And we just walk in and we're like, "That was sweet, Mr. G."
Wow,
Right?
yeah.
And then I think a couple days later he comes in. He's like, he's
No, I think we told him, and he had to get it towed.
Okay, that's all I
It
remember.
was
It's
like, hey,
yeah.
Mr. G, there's something
It
wrong with
broke.
your vet.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh my gosh,
That was a good time.
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But do you remember?
Wait, is this like I enjoy this? I think people are bored yet of like, remember that one time?
I don't know if they are or not.
Yeah, this
but-
is for you and me, Jimmy.
Yeah, this is. But do you remember Brian?
I'm sorry. There's a
When
spit
Brian was moving
chair.
the chairs, and Weiler's chair came out of the back of his pickup and rattled down the road, and then Weiler was extra pissed.
So here's a true story. So I moved my therapy office about 2 months ago. I've been in the same office for about 5 years.
In your mini?
No, but I moved it, and I was
Yeah,
rolling.
rough move.
I was rolling my chair out to my. I'm gonna spit. I have pictures, and I never sent it to Brian. But I told my wife, just take a picture of me rolling my chair out.
You'll get it.
Yeah, and then I'd never send it to Brian.
okay.
I need to do that because it made me. I remembered that because I was like, man, if my chair falls on the way to my new office, first of all, I don't care, but second, that'd be really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Brian, did he basically get fired for it? Right?
I think he didn't last much longer.
Yeah.
After that happened,
Brian.
You don't know Brian.
Oh, I thought it was.
What's Brian's last?
Cook.
Brian Cook. Yeah.
Great, funny guy.
Yeah, real funny. He's the one that doesn't have an ass.
I was gonna say.
And he would just fold into a chair and he just
bend.
he just like sit on the top of his legs and
true.
and then if he didn't wipe quite right, he would just get a stain in his shirt.
Oh, now we go through the bits. Okay, do you remember we also had an employee that when he would eat a burrito, he would unhinge his jaw like a snake.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. He was like a snake going after his prey.
I would literally unhinge his jaw.
I don't know how he did that.
I don't know. I've tried before. Doesn't work. Yeah.
We've had a failure.
Love?
This camera went down.
This is how it rolls.
The show
It's
must
fine.
go on. So is
We're-
it just
we're
on me the whole
recording-
time?
No, we're recording on his iPhone now.
Oh, nice.
So-
Look at that. Backups. Right?
Is it battery?
I don't know. Maybe. Did you charge it?
No.
Probably then.
So that camera's battery sucks so bad it can't last through one show.
So the remainder
and record
of
another show.
So the YouTube channel is going to eventually just be me. Is that what it is?
We're gonna have to
Dad's
change it to
Club
the virtual
podcast and the
couch.
virtual couch
There's
name.
like
Not a bad
and
idea.
trademark and copyright
Exactly.
issues.
I'll have my attorneys over here so fast.
Oh, I know.
My
I know.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem when Tony goes to school and becomes a rapist, is that he has attorneys now,
I do. I got my
and
people.
he's vicious with them.
Yeah.
He is very vicious.
I'll have my attorneys talk to your attorneys.
Oh, yeah?
I'm afraid of what's going to happen after the show.
Exactly. I am now sweating.
Me-
It's just
Well, the
happening.
sun's going down. It's going to cool off shortly.
Yeah. No, it's
But
just-
we
not
won't
as
be
bad
done
as
by
I
the
thought
time
it was
does.
going to be.
No, it's really not bad.
but it's still
It is, yeah.
not great.
I mean, I guess you guys didn't see in my rider, the contract, that not only would I have food and vegetables here, that I would have a car service, but also that it would be 71 degrees.
You failed to send that contract.
well, like you gave up sweating, you could just give up feeling heat, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah,
Mind over matter.
Yeah.
I gave up feeling.
I remember that. Right? Do you remember? I mean, speaking of that, I mean, so the Charismatic days, I was there a decade. So were
Me
you?
too.
Okay.
Well, I was there a day short of 10 years.
Okay. I made it 10 years.
Did you get a gift?
No. Did
Because
you?
really?
Nah.
What was in the? I remember it being in the thing that you were on your 10-year anniversary. You're supposed to get some gift.
Oh, right. No, it was like there was some clause that said, or unless you quit or something like that. It
Oh,
was,
so he knew you were quitting.
I don't think so.
Did you get one of those though?
What is that? A skateboard?
RC car?
No.
Oh shit.
Do you remember when that went down? The RC cars?
I mean, I remember we did that. And we did like helicopters and all that kind of stuff. I was never into that stuff though, so I felt like very left out. Yeah. Do you
Oh,
remember
no.
though? I mean, do you remember though? It was
I feel
we
bad now.
went through the .com boom. Like that's
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. What do you remember? I felt like
Well,
you were-
I remember. I mean, we didn't even have a website when I started.
Yeah.
And so all that we had to build. And
yeah. Here's what I remember is that we would go to those when we were doing the fiber channel stuff, the
Yeah.
storage area networking. I remember going to a trade show and it was right at the peak of the .com boom,
Uh-huh.
and there was a company that did fiber channel switches, and I knew people that had bought stock for a dime and had made $1 million literally. And then I bought. I think
Was
I
that
bought,
like Brocade or something?
Well, yeah, and then there was another switch company, and then I bought in at like 20 cents. I bought like $500 worth, and I waited. I was like, here we go, and it went down to 5 cents, 2 cents, and then I just forgot about it. And then a few years later, I remember, and I go look, and now the stock's worth a few bucks. So I think, oh yeah, it's cool. And I go to log in and see how much it's worth,
Uh-huh.
and then it was nothing. And then I go look at the fine print, and so once it got below like $15, then they charged some monthly service fee until it ran the whole account out.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, I was so bent because I was like, oh, at least there'll be a little payback.
Now, you want to know what's funny is I still have my Fidelity 401k from Charismatic just sitting there.
That's probably pretty good though.
It just, I mean, most of it's cash.
Mm.
No, not anymore. There's a big chunk of it that's cash.
Mm.
But the rest of it is all in the stock part of it.
Oh,
And that has risen and fallen with the markets over the years.
yeah.
And now it's doing okay. It's a pretty good chunk of change. I could buy a really nice car with that.
Nice.
I could get a Tesla
Could you really?
with that money.
I want a Tesla.
If I could cash that out, I could buy a Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't.
Is that a dare?
No, you know why? Because if I cash that out, it's 10% plus
Yeah.
taxes.
Oh, I did all that. I
Oh,
did.
I know.
I cashed it all out. I put it into a couple businesses. I fought a lawsuit. Wonderful
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
That is good
That
times.
sounds fun.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
How many stars would you give that out of 5?
About -2.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So Tony and I one time were in Japan, and we were with our Japanese rep, Tom Yoshida, hashtag I Tom.
Yoshida-san.
Yoshida, is he still around? What's his name?
Yeah. Tom. So Tom he and I were still kind of involved in business together up until about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, good guy.
So Tom, he's a really good guy. Tom Yoshida, very, very meek, very, very
Humble yet
humble,
successful.
Yeah. So we were with Tom, and Tom had found, because he knew that we loved Korean barbecue. So Tom had found apparently the first of its kind at its time.
All you could eat.
And the first all you could eat Korean barbecue that had a Kobe beef option.
Yeah.
And we were like, yes. So we ordered the Kobe beef option. Now everything was all you could eat. All you could eat beer, all you could eat meat, all you could eat veggies, whatever it was. And we just kept ordering meat and meat and meat.
I say Tom would mess around with the veggies, and it's like if you're there to do Kobe beef,
Oh, Kobe,
Forget
me up.
that.
Yeah. And then I
Forget
just kept
vegetables
going
always.
for meat and beer. That's all I had.
You did,
Barley
Jimmy.
and beer.
you did.
Barley and meat. And I got hammered, and that was fun. And then afterwards, we were getting ready to leave the restaurant because we had eaten all of their meat.
They
And-
did have a time limit. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like
I think it was an hour and a half.
I was hour and a half.
Yeah.
I know there was like a shabu place that had that too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we leave the restaurant and we all have to go to the bathroom. We go into the bathroom and I'm at the
For the
urinal.
record, I do not drink.
Yeah, Tony
So
doesn't
I was
drink.
babysitting Jim and Tom.
Oh, Tom was hammered too.
Yeah, I'm babysitting both of you, which was the story of my entire life. From my fraternity days on, I was babysitting you guys.
Now my recollection of this is I got to the urinal first.
Yeah.
And then you and Tom saddle up to the urinal and we were there for a minute.
You guys were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after a minute I go, there it is.
Mm-hmm. And then you and Tom started laughing.
And we laughed our asses off. That was the weirdest walk back to the hotel.
I remember walking you back. You both were very. Yeah.
Remember it was raining?
I
Do you
did not
remember
remember
that?
that, no.
It was real. I remember this very vividly. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I was shit faced out of my mind.
Yeah.
It was raining, and I don't know where they hide them. The Japanese must have a slot for
Oh, the umbrellas. They're everywhere.
They just come out of their asses or something. But suddenly there's a billion umbrellas up.
Instant.
And one of the tops of the buildings of the neighborhood we were in had this blue. It looked like a water droplet. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And I remember looking at that and being like, "Damn!" And it's raining up there too.
Like, come on, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Come on, you big idiot. Let's go.
Okay, so I got one Japan story, and then I want to get to King Superfans because that's gonna be fun to talk about, right?
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
when one of the times I did go with Tom last is so I would get up every morning. I would go on a nice early run, and his place was by this world famous Japanese fish market. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
So they would bring in just tons and tons boats of fish and this sort of thing.
They have
So-
boats of fish.
boats full of fish, Jimmy.
God.
Boats full of. So then one morning he says, "Let's go there and
Many
let's
boats.
eat sushi in the morning." And I by that time, okay, do you remember when we would go and I did not like sushi and we would put it in the water, we would boil it? Did you ever do that?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You went to sushi in the morning?
Yeah, because you would go there and literally get it fresh because this has part of the story.
And I was sleeping.
No, this was after I was
Oh,
doing.
okay.
This is when I was doing my own thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we go and we're in there and we're getting it, and they were literally like taking. There was this one where they had a shrimp, and the shrimp was all big, and he was moving around, and then they would kind of take care of it, and then they would put it on the sushi roll and hand it to you, and the tail was still moving.
Oh no.
No, and so then I got it, and I was bringing it over to me, and I'm a little bit scared, and the place is full, and then right when I get it toward my mouth, the tail just goes bam and hits my hand, and I just chuck that thing across the whole thing, and everybody's just dying laughing. It
Oh,
was
that's
bad.
hilarious. Yeah, because you're an American.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be served anything that's alive.
And then
I
they were
never-
like,
yeah.
"We lost World War II to you."
And there I am
Enjoy
throwing
this
sushi
dish.
around.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy,
Oh.
tell me about King Superfans. What do you remember? Why did we start it? What was it?
It was basketball, man.
Yeah.
It was all basketball,
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun.
Well, I think we can talk about it now because the company is no longer. I mean, we aren't part of that. But so
Yeah.
I remember we had gotten a pretty nice contract with the company, and the company was making a fair amount of money, right? And the CEO may or may not have been around very much for about 2 or 3 years. Do you remember this?
Yes.
So you and I believe, were bored.
Yes.
We liked basketball.
Yes.
We had nothing but time.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a web guy.
And I was a web guy because I had done however many websites for that company.
Yeah, and I was writing a humor column in my local newspaper. I did that for
so
10
you
years.
were writing already.
Yeah.
And Tony is a very good writer.
You're very kind.
So we decided we were going to do a local Sacramento Kings based fan website that had original writing and stats and everything.
Yeah,
and
a
a
forum.
forum.
It was a big deal, and this was so before blogs or anything.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was really early. It was in I
didn't
think
really
it
I don't
was
know the
at
years.
2000. When was the first major run?
Yeah, see, I'm so bad with those dates.
Do I need to Google something?
That'd be a good idea.
I want to say it was in 2000.
Okay, I was gonna say somewhere around there. Yeah.
So around 2000, we started this up, and right away, we had a couple of things happen. Right when we launched the website, it was before the season,
Yeah.
in the summer, and Diana Griego Irwin from the
Right.
Sacramento Bee
I wrote a
contacted
press
us.
release. Well, I wrote a press
yeah.
release, and I sent that out and thought no one's gonna care. And yeah.
And she contacted us and said, "Oh, I'd like to write a piece about you guys for the Bee." And we were like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
And she wrote a real nice piece about us, and like instantly our traffic went nuts.
And then that led to the news story by Dana Jacobson, who's now on
From
ESPN
News 10,
or something.
yeah.
Yep. And
No,
she came out.
she is.
Where's she at now?
I saw her on like ABC, like the morning show
Wow.
or something. She's like big time.
So she came out to my house. Remember that?
Yeah.
And when they filmed it, and it was
In
like
your
this.
house?
So then those things back to back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we our traffic went from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat.
Mhm.
And when you're talking about websites back in the day, they just didn't pick up that much traffic that quick,
Yeah.
but we did.
Yeah.
But then we also picked up some very negative traffic.
Some trolls.
Some Laker fan trolls.
Now I remember there was a something on the Sacramento Bee site, and it was, what would those be called at the time?
They had forums of their own that were for the Kings on the Sacramento Bee
Yeah.
website. And these guys were Laker fans who just loved screwing around with Kings fans because the Kings hadn't won anything, and we're Laker fans, and we're so much better than
and
everybody
they
else.
owned this Kings forum.
And they would basically run any Kings fans that came into this forum on the SacB website out.
Yeah.
And just kind of ruled this little space. Because they were on the SacB website already, our article that Diana Griego Irwin wrote got noticed very quickly, and instantly they came to us.
Yeah.
So this happened right away.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Do you remember the name that I made up? That I still remember this to this day. I was Steve's Shoe. That was my
I
name
do
on the
remember that.
forum, right?
I do remember
And so
that.
so we would basically like just make sport of these Laker fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were, we very much, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you check the site, you make sure that the shit that's on the site's not,
Oh, yeah.
what do you call that?
You're the web guy.
Vulgar.
No, it's
Avoiding or
the act
breaking
of-
terms and conditions.
the act of patrolling the site to make sure that it's
Police.
Monitoring?
monitoring, whatever.
Okay.
So we were
Oh,
pretty
I see what
active.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We were pretty active in making sure that people weren't trying to just rattle people's cages.
On
and-
our own forum, right?
our own forum.
Right. So they jumped over to our forum,
Uh-huh.
and then it was on.
And it was on, and we started banning people, and
Yeah.
they would create new accounts, and they would get banned. It was just this.
And they created a separate website that was to mock our website.
yeah, literally just to mock us.
Yeah.
Now,
This is like the start of everything on the internet.
yeah, this
Like,
is.
literally Reddit is just that basically.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
they literally had their own website space that they had a mock website of our website on their website.
And
they
even
just jack your HTMLs.
No, they created an
they created
entire-
like a joke website of our website.
and it made fun of you and me because on our
yeah.
about we had like pictures of us and
Yeah.
whatever, and right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, in the meantime, the hard part was then as things got kind of weird. Meanwhile, so I still remember when Kobe Bryant got busted for some stuff. People would, I don't even know what was it, Google at the time. They would Alta Vista. They would, what was the search engine at the time?
I think Google had
Okay.
been around. Yeah.
So, but they would. So I remember. I don't know if you remember this. I did a radio interview with a Denver radio station because the Kings and the Lakers were, whatever, and Kobe Bryant had gotten arrested in Colorado, and so I did a radio interview to get my thoughts on the rivalry, and I was
Right.
like, we're a joke website, right? I mean, that's what I felt like, and so we're getting that. I think I'd gone on the Rise Guys a time or two.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
the
so,
Rice Guys.
and
I
we
forgot about
start
them.
selling advertising, and I mean, so all this cool stuff's happening. But meanwhile, on the forum,
Yeah, the forums were just rough.
Yeah.
And those guys would come back and just be jerks. And But we were actually doing okay. I mean, we were running ads for people, and
Yeah.
I think we had our costs were covered,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Okay, and then what?
we
and
were
then-
selling products.
Yeah, we had the
T-shirts and-
merchandise.
yeah,
but
we-
then we won some awards. Like this is the thing that I still. That's what I was. Yeah,
The
so
Dotties.
The Dotties. Jim
We
and I
won 4 of those.
And these were like we would go show up, and we were competing against ginormous companies
thing-
with real fancy websites,
But
right?
for us, it was like, hey, we got this Dottie show, Tony. We need to go, but hey, before we go, let's go to Zelda's and get
totally
pizza.
remember that. I loved that pizza.
And we want to go to Zelda's and get. That was all we gave a shit about, was going to Zelda's and getting pizza.
Yeah, but then we show up at this award show and people are dressed up or whatever. I remember you and I are in shorts and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
We didn't know it was a big deal.
No.
It's like this gala, and
Yeah.
then I know we won literally best overall website one year, and then best sports like 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, we won the best sports site.
Yes,
Yes.
overall.
Like,
and
who were you competing?
Oh, it was
against?
like University of Davis Healthcare, and
yeah.
everybody like clap or whatever,
Uh-huh.
you know. And then it was like, you know,
King
saving
Superfans.
kids from whatever, and then it was us, and we had to
Yeah.
go up and like accept our award.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, really?
We were like,
You
go Kings.
You give a speech now, and you're like,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
what
yeah.
do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
That was that website. That's one of the kickers for me of my life. Like
Yeah.
the regret of
Oh, I'm with you. That's why. I mean, you
of
and
not
I have never
just
talked
sticking
about
it
this.
out. The regret of not sticking it out and just because I think if we would have stuck it out, the legitimacy of what we were doing
Oh, we were yes.
would have.
See, look at this. Jim and I have
Made
never
us.
processed this. So,
No.
so do you remember there was a guy and he wanted to have a meeting down in like Los Angeles, and he was based out of San Antonio.
Yep.
And he wanted to take one fan.
SpursReport.com.
Yeah, and he wanted to take one fan site from every NBA city. He wanted to create a magazine. So then we were going to get press passes.
Yep.
And they went on to then, I don't know if you ever followed that, but whatever he put together ended up being sold, or Bleacher Report or Bleacher Mont, whatever. So I mean, we just missed that. We've never
Yeah.
talked about this,
No.
right?
Yeah, we-
because yeah.
The conversation with him died.
Yeah.
And I remember part of the conversation was, well, KingsReport.com is not available.
Yeah.
And well, why isn't it available? Well, it's available. You can buy it, but the people who are selling it won't let you
forgot
use it
about that.
for sports or something
Forgot
like
about that. Yeah.
And we were like, what? So, well, what URL are we going to use if we're not matching Spurs Report and
I
the
forgot
rest of
about
the rest of the NBA report.com?
Yeah.
What are we going to use? And that sort of like was one of the sticky points of,
Yeah.
and we didn't have the money to
No.
offer
Yeah.
to offer.
Were they asking for an amount?
Well, they wanted us to buy it, but even then we couldn't use it for
forgot
sports.
all
There was
about
like there was like a stipulation in the contract they were going to be putting in
Yeah.
that said you can't use it for sports.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, that's not useful for us then.
And
And,
it-
so then what will we use? Well,
Yeah.
there wasn't another alternative that was good. I totally remember that.
hmm And then that went on, and that was right about the time where the .com boom crashed, and then it was a year or two after that, and then I had to bail.
Well, those jokers
Right, yeah.
started getting personal.
Yeah.
Those Laker jokers were leaving messages on your answering machine.
I remember this.
That's insane.
It really was.
They were posting. I remember I was the sole reason why the forums on SACB got torn down, because my address and phone number got posted on the forum.
How did they find that?
I don't
Because
know at the
back
time.
then,
Yeah. Okay.
I had a .mac account that had a website, and I had my resume on it, and they found it. They found my resume.
This is so weird, right? So we had this cool stuff going on, but then we had. I remember talking to you one night, and you were
the
just like, "I'm
dark,
done,"
doomy
right?
cloud of
Yeah.
of evil assholes on the internet.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like stalking behaviors. That's
Yeah.
that's really.
Oh, and
like-
nowadays you can't get away with it. And the guy Dave, who was
Mm-hmm.
the ringleader of all those MRFers, is dead, and I am so happy to know this because he was.
He did a lot of
He was
personal
evil.
stuff that was bad.
Yeah.
But it was wild to see that then we were still before blogs. So I mean,
Yeah.
and it was just a couple years later where then blogs got press credentials.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well, do you remember?
got huge.
I
Yeah.
remember going and actually getting into.
we interviewed Jim Kozumor at a WNBA game.
Well, we did that.
yeah.
So
you went
that
to the
was it.
practice
But
facility.
I went to the practice
didn't
facility
make
a
it to
couple
that one.
times and got like interviews. It was right
Peja.
after
You interviewed Peja.
I interviewed Coach
Yeah.
and I interviewed Peja, and it was right after what's his face on the Lakers got punched by Doug Christie.
Oh yeah.
Remember
Rick
that?
Fox.
Rick Fox. Rick Fox got punched
Because the
and-
animated GIF at the time was like we had a. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. But
So-
that's one of those. I mean, I love what I do. I couldn't be greater, happier helping people and all this stuff. But,
You've always been a sports guy.
I love basketball and I love writing.
Yes.
And I would write humorous things,
Yes.
right? I mean, I
well,
was the...
you wrote really well done articles that were valid for the time,
Right.
but also injected humor.
I had
in
my
them.
weekly report. I loved that.
Yeah.
And, just that was kind
We
of...
It would
even
be
had-
very interesting to see if you didn't have to shut it down, what it would have done.
I know. Yeah.
Remember we had Kevin.
Oh,
The
Kevin and I just
11-year-old.
I still am in contact with Kevin, and we just talked about this probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
and and now I know he's got kids and all that stuff. But yeah, he was 11.
Yeah, the 11-year-old Kings fan. He wrote stuff for us. That was fun.
It really was fun.
And I enjoyed that. But
Yeah. And then do you remember? So every year I would put out a press release that said I could play. I would
Your
declare myself
eligibility.
eligible for the NBA draft. And, it'd always be, Overbay, a 5'7", software salesman. And I would send it to the NBA head office, and I just every year.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the article that I could start in the WNBA, and then that's when we ended up going. And do you remember walking on the court and the women were like really, really tall? And I realized maybe I can't play in the WNBA.
maybe not.
Yeah. But that was a blast.
Yeah, but
You're like,
you.
hey, little guy. You're like,
Exactly.
oh,
Tone,
no.
Now, for those not in the know, which I know none of these people that are listening know,
Yeah.
Tony rips on a basketball
Oh, I
court.
love it.
Tony,
I'm an old man. I still play
I believe it. And you dunked in high school.
a couple times.
You-
It wasn't a real dunk. I would do this little finger roll and then snap
Oh,
a rim.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but I would say it was a dunk.
But
You
yeah,
don't
that
have to
was
tell
close
us
enough.
that. You
I
can just,
know.
we'll edit that out.
I've got to be authentic. It's my whole therapist persona.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
How's that make you
Where do
feel?
you play? Where do you play at?
We played at a church in my town.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
So
I was gonna
and-
say, if you want to play it late night, you can
Yeah.
go to HP and they have lights. You
Do
just
they really?
flip them on. Yeah,
Wow.
you can go there anytime. They don't care.
So this is fun. My family doesn't follow anything that I do. It's like, oh, geez, Dad, do another podcast or whatever. But so I don't know if you follow.
Same.
My son has been created in a lab as a basketball player.
I
Do you follow some of this stuff?
I watch your videos.
It's crazy.
that you post on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So
and
so
stuff.
since the time he was young, we had basketball stuff everywhere. I never pressured him or whatever. I would take him along with me to play with my friends.
he's a phenom.
It's crazy. So now and then I'm not tall. Surprise, right?
You're
Shocking.
4'3" or
5'8" with shoes on, 4'3" without. Very large
those
shoes.
are the biggest
Very
shoes
large
ever.
shoes. But
Yeah.
so it was like, and all of a sudden this kid's
gonna
he's
get
a
you,
freshman.
sucker.
He's like 6'1", right? Which is I don't know where this came from.
Is he really?
6'1"?
He's 6'1".
He gets
Yeah.
that from your wife.
She's not tall. Whoa! Did you see how that spit this one over?
That's
Yeah,
that's
we-
my bad.
now
I'll be,
gotta
I'll be
put it in
taking this home.
We got to put in the dishwasher.
Yeah, my bad.
That's cool.
But then it's like, and then he was. Meanwhile, he would go play with my
How did he
friends.
get 6'1"?
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
I mean, I have one tall grandpa, one tall uncle. So and then plus everybody in my family is bald. Surprise! But then he's got a thick head of hair and he's tall. Now he does look like me, but
Hold on.
he hit the recessive gene jackpot.
I
is what he
think
did.
Yeah,
no.
did,
I
really.
think what we need to get your wife in here for an interview to find out where this kid came from.
But the crazy part is he was created in a lab. So and then I start doing all this mindfulness stuff. When
Is
he's
that
like
what she
7th, 8th
told you?
grade.
He was created in a
No,
lab.
that's my own thing.
All right.
Come on now, Jimmy. But it's been so cool that like that was this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love basketball, but I
Yeah.
love the fact that he can destroy me in basketball.
He's a freshman right now.
yeah. He's already talked to 4 or 5 D1 colleges.
That's great.
He's like the number 2 ranked shooting guard in California or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you ask him, he's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, it's cool, right?
So
He's
he's
like,
a senior this year.
No, he's a freshman.
Come on, bro.
He's only a frosh.
Yeah, he started varsity, led the team in scoring, and made all league as a
Bro.
freshman. I know. And I'm like,
so
that's
he's
cool, right?
finishing
He's
his
like,
freshman year this year.
Yeah.
Dude,
So it looks like you might have to be paying for school.
I will not be paying for school.
Nice.
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
No, it's
and I've
cool.
watched some of the
Yeah. Anyway,
your
that's so
videos.
braggy, but I only say that because when you mentioned basketball. Now, do you remember playing basketball at Chrismac? We taught
Oh,
Jimmy,
yeah,
and Jimmy
yeah.
would come play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like playing basketball
Yeah.
until I started cracking ribs
Oh.
at Basketball Town.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I fell on my arm one time.
Oh.
I got I got a bloody nose or something happened that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I remember you went and played soccer or something sometime.
Oh,
and came
you
back
were
with
good
a
at
sprained
soccer.
ankle.
I did try to
Yeah.
go play soccer with you, and that's where that you kind of owned that. We played indoor.
I was a soccer player.
Yeah.
I was a competitor. You were the basketball guy. I was the soccer.
and when I
guy.
went into your dojo, I felt very insecure.
for the one thing,
It was very bad.
you
though.
made me feel insecure for my entire career.
Has Basketball
Yeah.
Town been demolished? Because I don't
It's gone.
think it's down there anymore,
No.
right?
Yeah. It's after that whole rib thing.
I sued the
sued him.
crap
Yeah,
out
he
of him.
did. Yeah, he did.
Because it's
Yeah.
down there at the end of Hazel, right?
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
we did,
yeah,
we did
you
a
played-
league. We did.
Yeah, you played on my brother's team for
Yeah.
that league a couple times.
Oh, Sean used to play
Yeah.
there
Oh my
too?
gosh, I forgot that.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
You didn't
Yeah.
play on Sean's team?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, when I got
Yeah.
Tony to cover when we were
That was a
short people.
blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a joke, right? The short thing that you just said.
Did I say something short?
Yeah, I'm a little too quick. Did you catch
Wait,
that?
did you
Davis?
say I love you?
You did. Is that the name of the? Is that going to be the name of the episode? I'm always like curious,
Did you
right?
say I
Very-
love you?
It was
Yeah.
very possible.
Did you just say I love you?
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I feel
I'm
it.
doing that. I'm doing that to my boss now. Next time he hangs up with a client. Did you just say I love you at the end of the call?
oh, now I cannot say that in a therapy session. That would not be funny because the client might be like, "Actually, yes."
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
you wanna
they're
use-
all.
Ask in the
I have
chat.
feelings for you, Tony, and
Okay.
you're like, oh,
Do you know what's funny? All right, I've never told this one. So I'm in this training, and it's a bunch of therapists, and so they were talking about sometimes you're the first person that really shows concern or empathy for someone, and so there is a concept where someone will they'll start to dig their therapist, right? So there's therapist in this training. It's like we've all had that experience where somebody has professed their love to you, and in my mind I'm like, okay, nobody ever has to me. Like, is that like, am I really that hideous?
It's the shortness.
Exactly. And I was just like, okay, come
it's
on,
the
really?
shoes,
It's okay.
Mars.
I mean, I'm not supposed to care about that. I mean, it's a bad thing. I mean, but it's like, okay, well, I've never had that experience.
maybe they.
It's like a completion thing, like it happened to you, so you
There you
feel
go.
like you.
No.
yeah,
that's
then
what
I feel
yeah.
validated.
Yeah, validation. That's
maybe
the
you're
word.
just not a very good the rapist.
I know,
maybe.
but the wild part is people keep coming, right? So,
Well, maybe they don't know any different. How do you know if you've got a bad therapist?
Well, maybe that's how you
That's
know
a
that
good
they do like
there is a lot of data that says your relationship with the therapist is more important than whatever the modality they use is. And so if you don't click with your therapist, for all the listeners out there,
Chances are good you shouldn't be using them.
yeah, and you can leave your therapist. And a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't want to make him mad, right? And it's like, no, you gotta have a good fit.
Do you
So
watch
you're
Netflix?
telling me, like, if a client came and said, Tony, I'm done with you.
Yeah,
I don't want to reschedule an appointment.
right.
You wouldn't be mad.
No, I wouldn't. Now I've never had it happen, but I wouldn't.
Listen to this.
Someone's gonna do it now just because.
Oh, somebody, that's
I've
a,
never had that happen.
that's an expensive joke to pull on me, though, right?
my
Like,
God.
oh, I'll show him.
God.
I'll schedule an appointment. I'll pay full price. I'll go 10 times, and I'll say, well, I'm done. Right?
Well, apparently I'll do that like you did the podcast thing
oh,
for
yeah.
my
yeah,
for my
yeah.
I
intervention.
already forgot about that.
Oh shit! I should have let it lie.
Exactly.
Have you watched? Do you watch Netflix?
Yeah.
Did you watch You?
No, but I want to see that. I actually listened to the audiobook of that.
Oh,
It was
okay.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm
really
doing that weird nerd thing that I never wanted to do. Like, I'm worried that the book was so much better. Like, I'm that guy.
Dude, it's really good.
Yeah, I bet it
The
is.
show is
All right,
great.
you've turned into one of those guys.
I didn't think I was.
Come on
But I
now.
listen to a ton of audiobooks when I run. Like, that's what I do all the time.
I don't. Oh, I got you. I mean, I watch a movie and I'm either entertained by the movie or I'm not entertained by the movie.
That is deep.
But also,
Wait a minute. So you either like it or you don't?
exactly.
Do you watch it or you don't?
Yeah.
How he
Yes.
feels about that.
That's
Do I
okay.
watch a movie? Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
Do I enjoy it or not? Yeah.
Interesting.
But will I turn it off if I don't like it?
That will be $150.
On the
please, Jimmy.
other hand,
Yes.
on the other hand of this,
Right.
don't know how to read.
I would always know that. You would just say words, and you'd kind of have this look on your face when you'd be reading something on a computer, and you'd be like, "It's the computer says," and you'd always look like, "Am I doing it right?" And I don't know if you ever noticed, and I would start reading.
Yeah,
felt
and then
so
I was
bad.
like, I was like, thank God Tony took over on this email.
Yeah.
He's like, why am I over here reading all the tech support emails?
Okay. Here's another story that I wanted to get to. By the way, Datus, how are we doing on time?
48 minutes.
All right.
So we got about
Got another hour to go.
12,
Yeah.
12, 15 minutes.
Well, if we talk slower.
Oh, then we were gonna do that, right?
Yeah, we got to talk slower.
I
than
do
ever,
hear
right?
on my podcast, so I listen to all of them on 1.5 speed because I got stuff to do, right?
I listen to this guy.
But I know that I will have people tell me that they're like, you know what, I can't take you on 1.5 because I get all excited. I'm talking like this, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, you
he did say when he first got here, he doesn't have enough time to do the stuff he needs to do.
I know.
I really do.
You know what I mean?
But
So,
I will
yeah.
say this: you do,
Right.
you are not to a detriment at all, but you do talk fast.
How dare you? That was Jim. I hope your camera's on. My audience does not need to
I
think
think
that
I
I, do
blew.
that.
I just blew the camera out.
Okay. I don't remember what story I was going to tell.
Is it true you're allergic to avocados?
No, I'm better now. I
Oh,
was
okay.
for a long time.
Because you always talk
Oh,
about
no, it
that.
killed me. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, that was one where now an avocado is one of my best friends.
My throat
Nice.
is closed.
Literally. I love when people do that. My head exploded. Literally exploded. I'm like, no, it really didn't. Exactly.
There's an emoji.
No,
for
so
that.
I was allergic to avocados, coconut, macadamia nuts, and
Yeah.
it would
You
just
don't
make
have to
my
eat the coconuts, it's
chest
all right.
swell up. Yeah, but now
I remember you would eat some and be like, my throat is closing.
But they were so yummy. But now I don't know what happened. But now I'm okay with avocados.
It's because you came in contact with Mexican Jim.
Gotcha.
Do you like guacamole?
I
too?
love it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he loves guacamole.
I really
I'm glad
do.
you got over
What
this.
story was I going to tell?
You know.
This is the stuff that drives me. So here's the thing: when you're doing therapy and you're supposed to be tracking, and somebody's like, "Where were we?" I used to always be like, "You know what? Actually, stay with what you're talking about," and that's the way you're covering up. Like, I have no idea. Like, I don't
Oh,
remember.
boy.
I gotta remember that
Now
one.
I'm very authentic, right? So I'll be like, "Yeah, I don't really remember," but I try my best. To,
Oh.
you have to track the whole time, right? So
What did you say?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh, your name is X? Okay, okay. Now I know who you are, first of all.
Oh,
And second of all, I have no idea where we were.
What was I going to say though?
I'd be like fantasizing about being in Maui, and then suddenly,
You know what's funny? I did when I started doing mindfulness training years ago.
Yeah.
One of the first things that it did was you do find like if it's 11 o'clock and I've been on some long run in the morning and then I'm getting really hungry and I'm starting to think of where am I going to go for lunch and the person's sitting there. I mean, so I don't do this anymore for any of my clients. But mindfulness training was that I had to recognize that it's normal to have the thought of hunger, but I need to stay present and focused. And now I don't do that anymore. But
that's what you're getting paid for, bro.
I know,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to stay with it.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was. Email story. I was going to tell one about. Do you remember what would happen when maybe one of the upper management people would accidentally send a very hate-filled email, and then what they would do?
Oh yes.
Okay. What do you?
Run down the
Exactly.
hall,
I was.
down the stairs,
Yeah.
into Nate's office.
Yeah.
Unplug the server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that would have been the phone call would have been quicker,
Yeah.
but still not quick enough.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you ever?
Dialing numbers you can screw up. You might have to do it more than once.
Huh?
Like if you had to. Are you saying phone call to somebody else that can unplug it?
Yeah, Nate was downstairs.
Yeah, I mean you
so
can mess the dial up.
Every now and again,
you
we
know.
would just hear upstairs this
jug,
big
jug,
old
jug,
yeah,
jug, jug, down
yeah,
down the hall.
yeah, and then open and slam door.
Yeah, and then you would hear. I'm just gonna say it, Weiler.
Wow.
You'd hear Weiler go into
cool.
Nate's office and be like, "Unplug the server!" like real fast, and Nate's like, "It's gone, dude. It's gone. You hit send. It's gone like that. It's not
It's
like you
gone
can
me,
beat it,
bro.
It's not like it's running down the wire and you're gonna
Bring it back.
Yeah,
Right?
you're gonna pass it. I'm gonna get
Command
you at the
Z, Command
server.
Z,
Yeah.
Command Z.
Hey, you know what's funny? When I'm listening to some of your episodes too, I still I've been gone out of the tech industry for I think 15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
So I still think that I'm a techie, but
well, you
time
are.
stood still there though.
Yeah,
He has an
Yeah.
Apple Watch. You have to be a techie.
I do.
You
It's
know?
the first one though.
you kind of got out.
So finally stopped working. I had it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got it. Like it was like the 4th week after it came out, and then it finally stopped working last year.
Mine's working. Mine's hanging in there.
I mean, you were the most non-techie tech person that knew what they were talking about.
I learned how to talk a good game.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do remember. Do you remember? I would have to go. Theoretically, I was going to go network with people from the OSTA committee. Do you remember this? Optical
Vaguely.
Storage Technology
Yes.
Association. And my job was to go sit in 2-day conferences in rooms where people are setting standards on how to write data to an optical disc. So it was nothing but engineers, and I was only there to say, "Hey, who wants to go to dinner?" And then I was supposed to get them to then bundle our software. And I would go all over the country and do that. And I would just have to just
Really?
Oh yeah.
Was that before me?
I don't know, but I would go to these OSTA storage committee meetings. I was part of the committee. I had no idea what I was talking about. And after a couple of times, I feel like there were a couple of them that would realize I don't know what I'm talking about. And then they would really say, "Tony, what do you think? Where should we put the primary defect list?" And I'm
They
like,
would.
"Man, that's a good question."
They'd put it on you
Yeah.
just to see what you'd say.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you should just put it right there.
I
Right.
remember one
Right.
time.
Well, what do you think?
I remember one time we had signed up. It was when Mac OS 10 was new.
Okay.
We'd signed up for a Mac OS 10 driver kitchen.
Okay.
And that's what we did was drivers for stuff.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't a really important thing. The thing was we had one engineer. So we didn't have the time to send the engineer, so we would send someone like me who had no idea.
And you were there with the coders, right? Like
You're
these
there
are the,
with the Apple guys who are writing the subsystem stuff. And so I get sent down to Cupertino. I check into the hotel. I put my stuff in the room. I go across the street to the Apple campus, get to the thing, and it's like, "Hey, you're sitting at a computer. Did you bring your sample code?"
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, "Oh shit, I am so out of my element here.
You're like, oh man, I forgot that in my
And
jacket.
then it was like I sat down for like a half an hour, and like and then I got up, and it was like one of the first times I ever really needed a cell phone, and I had one.
Yeah.
And I remember calling the dude. This is like they need a real engineer here to like they want sample code, and I didn't even bring any. And they have hands-on dudes walking around like a teacher waiting to crack your
let's
knuckle
see
if you
your
talk.
code, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to tell them some emergency happened and I got to go.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I walked in. I said, hey, do you have anything I can take back with me? Because I got to run. We had some emergency back in the office.
Code stuff.
And then I had to go check out of the hotel
Yeah.
and drive home.
Dang. Okay.
You were there for what? 20 minutes in balance?
A half an hour.
Apple campus.
Yeah.
You and I are sitting there. Nate runs into the Apple store. You and I are sitting in the truck. Who opens the door?
Yeah.
Who opens the door and says, "Can you move this truck, gentlemen?"
Yeah.
Who was it?
Steven Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah. He parked in that front spot right
We
in
were
front of
parked
the-
illegally, and little do we know that's the place where he illegally parks.
Exactly.
And that was our one run-in.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it inspired him to that day. I heard he talked about that often.
Oh, he was
When he
like
opened that door, he just felt like something.
He was like that
He
bald guy in
he
the truck.
opened the how you never told me that.
No, he literally opened. Didn't he open the door?
I believe so.
Or did he
yeah,
knock on it?
I forgot all about that.
Oh,
to be
Steve
honest.
Jobs.
Yeah.
And then Jim and I just went like, do you know who that was?
Jim-
And I don't know if you or I just hurried up and jumped in the truck, like pulled away.
Yeah, yeah. We pulled and parked, and then he just pulled in where we were sitting.
was
And
super
Because
went
he always
nice.
parked right out front of the
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
big door.
Yeah.
right
We
there
were-
where
we
the
were in a
Apple
spot.
store is
Yeah.
on the
Yep.
left of that big area.
On the right
Or
side.
on the right
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was our claim to fame.
That's right.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, another fun Apple story. I remember this one always. Remember we were starting to do press conferences,
Uh-huh.
and we signed up for the first one of Mac World. Do you remember this story?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, so and that was and they were doing the Apple whatever keynote,
Uh-huh.
and the keynote went long because they were introducing like the iMac,
Yes,
right?
uh-huh.
And so we're I'm like, man,
And
the
no
first
one was
spot's
there.
open. I was
Yeah.
like, so we were gonna talk about our CD mastering software.
Yeah.
So you and I are there. We got all this stuff to give away. Got stuff all on the chairs. Literally, no one showed up because I was competing against Steve Jobs talking about the new iMac.
Exactly.
And then somebody I think Christina Denike, the journalist,
Yep.
she comes in. She's like, yeah, nobody ever takes the first one after the keynote because Steve Jobs typically goes long. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Well, there we go.
Right?
Now, fast forward that to now.
Yeah.
And we do NAB.
Yeah.
And our press event is full standing room only
Is it really?
every time. Man. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
I went from 0. No one attended that. That's what drove me out of the computer industry right there.
That was it.
That did it.
That was the one.
Left a bad taste in his mouth.
It did. Okay. And speaking of bad taste, do you remember one more? Where would we go at NAB and eat an insane amount of seafood? I still do this to this
Oh,
day.
yeah. You still go there?
Yeah.
The Rio Seafood Buffet.
Yeah.
I have not been there since that last time we went.
Okay. The cost is now something like $2,000.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. When we went there, it was like back in the day. I don't know.
Well-
a quarter.
Now here, maybe this is the difference, but
Okay.
we actually go to real restaurants now.
I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know what this is.
Okay.
No, but I mean, we went. I mean, I've been to some very expensive
Chic, would you say?
meals. What's the Noma Sushi or Nora? There's a really famous one. It's at the Hard Rock.
Oh.
And we went there with the owner's son, and it was a big round table full of guys and a couple girls. And he's like, well, we want to do, he was talking to the waitress about what we wanted to order. Well, we just want to do something where everybody can share.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, well, we have a range of, $40 a person up to whatever. He's all, whatever.
Whatever.
So we got the whatever package of sushi, and that was a couple $1,000
Wow.
worth of sushi, plus all the drinks. And then we did a dinner. Actually, this is a fairly cheap one. There was like 6 of us. It was $768.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of money.
yeah. Not to mention the parties we used to throw.
Did you?
Every Tuesday, AJA had a big party. Big party. They would rent like whatever nightclub it was. So the last party we had was the nightclub at the Wynn.
Mm.
And these were normally, you're paying for the whatever the nightclub cost is plus all the drinks for the night.
Wow.
And I remember watching at one of the parties, not that particular party, but at one of the parties, I watched the chick write the check for the bar tab was $126,000.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Talk about a Tesla. You could buy one of those.
I don't think I've ever made that much money in my life. Like, as of,
Writing that off.
like,
Yeah.
from when I started working to now.
Oh.
There's no way.
Oh, that was last year.
Hey, did you go to... Oh, wait. Where are we at now? Are we...
59.45.
Did you go to Russia?
No, you and Ralph.
That was me and
went.
Ralph went to Russia.
Yeah, you and T-shirt guy.
Yeah.
Undershirt.
See, I thought that was when that whole thing happened. And I did... When we're talking about
That
food...
was in London.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay. What
Remember, you and I went to the room. We all went to the room, and we were like, "It's early.
Yes.
What are we doing? We're in London.
Right.
Let's go do some craft."
Fish and chips.
And so, yeah,
Double-decker bus.
So literally,
Meet the Queen.
we-
I'm going to keep doing this. Buckingham Palace.
we went to
Knights of the Round
Parliament.
Table.
We went to Ralph's.
Stonehenge. Big Ben. Parliament. I'm out.
So we went to Ralph's Cube, and that's Cube.
Mini Coopers.
We went to his
Good
room
point. Austin Powers.
and knocked on the door, and he opened up his
$1 million.
door, and he had his undershirt, and that was I got my undershirt on.
Well, I think then we went back and we're like, man, he doesn't want to do anything or whatever. And he's just saying, and then you're like, I got my undershirt on. And we laughed. We laughed for days.
Oh, years. We every once in a while that would just get busted out, and we'd laugh.
I think about that still when I have an undershirt on. I really
I don't
do.
even wear undershirts, and I laugh about
He's
it.
got one on right now. He
I
was
do.
laughing at that earlier.
I literally do.
I know you do.
I laugh at it every day.
That's why you're not sweating.
No, I'm sweating.
No.
He said that with such a straight face.
Yeah, it's all going down
It's
my
here, dude.
back. Yeah, exactly.
So this is the banter I miss. We haven't had this in a long time.
Yeah, this is nice.
What is
Do you-
that?
I
What's
hear
that hiss?
I hear that.
It's the sprinklers, homie.
Oh,
There we go.
see, this is what
This
you
is
get.
Ed's fault.
On a podcast you record in the
I don't
garage.
quite have the sprinkler sensation on my
It's-
award-winning virtual couch podcast.
It's a digital
You had to
effect
throw it
we
in.
add in.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a sound.
He just hits a button.
Oh.
Yeah.
He hits a button and sprinkler sound.
Sprinklers.
What else do you want to hear?
Applause. Oh, that was really impressive.
Yeah,
All
it's-
right.
Anything else?
A yawn.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah. No, that was he
Last
yawned a little
week-
while ago. I almost
I
called
did.
him out on it.
Last
I was
week,
like, oh, are we boring you, Datus? Right?
I just.
You got an award-winning podcaster here. Am I that boring?
well, last week he pissed me off a couple times during the show. He got in the yawn, and I'm like, the second one, I'm like, that's it. Don't do it again. And then a little while later,
Yeah. Sorry, we're boring you.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just. I just start to chill out, and I'm just like.
Oh, okay, so it's actually a good thing. You
Yeah.
feel so comfortable.
I do. Yes. Yes.
See what I did? That's reframing in my business.
See, it's like since
Yeah.
there's a licensed therapist here, I feel like just in the presence.
You should
all
be
of my
worried,
problems are
is what you
solved.
should be.
Oh, I diagnosed him long ago.
Now I figure the only reason you wanted to come on the show
Mm-hmm.
is so you had some material for your other show.
Oh yeah. Like,
Yeah, feel free to
And you know, at one point you'd ask me if I'd come on. Absolutely, I would. If you want me
I
to
would
do
love-
it anytime.
Jim was gonna. I really before I started this whole thing, I was thinking I would like a co-host, and Jim's the funniest guy I know, like for real. Yeah.
So, but I always figured that my joke would be the only reason why you've got me here is because you ran out of shit to say about people.
I have plenty to say about people, Jim.
There he is again.
That was another yawn.
Oh my god!
Speaking of
I
that,
wanna
before,
lose a shoe.
okay, before we go to, you know what's
Yeah.
funny? A couple times when I've thought to text you,
Yeah, you
I
just
forget.
didn't.
Well, no, because I forget that I have you in my phone as GYM, and I literally do. And so it was like
Yeah.
I would start to do it, and I have something funny, and then all of a sudden the moment's gone. I think, man, do I not have his number anymore? And
Yeah.
I'm middle of the night one time. I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, it's Jim, short for gymnasium. Your
Yeah,
full name,
yeah.
right? Your full name. I remember that.
Well, that's my Twitter handle,
Is it really?
Gymnasium.
Okay.
Literally,
not in that order, but
Nasium. No,
it's like Nasium Gym, bro.
no, I think it's. Is it?
Yeah, dude, I'll fact check it real quick. Hold up.
Fact check me. Jeez.
There you go.
Wow.
Hey, so am I gonna be back?
You want to come back next week?
Yeah.
No way.
What are we gonna talk about?
I'll
I'll diagnose the two of you live on the air.
Well,
right,
here's
do
what
it.
we'll do for the next show.
Okay.
We'll pull the motor out of your car and put it back in.
Okay, I
Jimmy
love
Mays,
you guys, but there was one episode where I got so lost in some techie things or something.
Yeah.
And that one I was like, but I don't, because see, unlike you not listening to my show,
I have listened
I'm
to your
committed
show.
to listening to all of them. So I just like put some toothpicks in my eyes and I'm like, let's do this. And I just sat there.
If you're listening to it at 1.5 speed, are you really listening to it?
That one I went up to
No.
like double speed. I did. And you want to hear a yawn at double speed? Yeah. It frightened me. It did. Scared the crud out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I've been planning on you to come back next week.
Well,
so-
like one of my professors, he's like, if you fall asleep in here, it's fine because that just means you're enjoying it and it's relaxing.
that's
Yeah,
bullshit.
he's telling himself that so he doesn't feel like he's
Yeah.
a boring professor, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is a doctor, so
Yeah,
maybe
that's
he
what he
just
says.
is trying to feel better about it.
Right.
But
or so the Germans would have them.
You know,
believe.
one of the most offensive things, though, that does happen in therapy at times is I will have some people that just want to get stuff off their chest, and that's great. Like, I love that.
So do
but every
they
now
yell?
and again, what's that?
Do they yell?
No, but
Oh.
then every now and again, though, then they'll stop and they'll ask me my opinion. And as soon as I start talking, their eyes just do this.
What the hell?
There are only a couple of people like that, and I know if they stop, they're so exhausted. They have so much going on in their life, and yeah. And I have never exclusive Sad Dads Club podcast exclusive.
Oh my!
Oh my god, hold on.
we need like a
You need a
soundboard.
yeah,
button
exactly.
for
Hold
this.
on. Yeah, get those headphones ready.
Hey, press record.
So, all right, touche. Yeah,
Do I need to turn your sound up? Like, do I need?
Here we go.
You need to be louder.
exactly.
Well, he's short, so we need to get the sound up.
That is actually funny. I was trying to come up with something witty to say, and that one got me.
He can't forget about what he's gonna say, so let's just let him say it.
All right.
I've already forgot.
Oh shit!
No,
Now,
I don't. I remember. So, talking about the falling asleep thing, there was a time where I watched a guy fall asleep on my couch in front of me.
Yeah.
And he's talking, and he's like going and said,
The joke's in my head.
Oh,
I'm holding back
Well,
right
so then
now.
what I felt like this is my one opportunity. So what I did was I just kind of laid back and I closed my eyes because I wanted to be able to, like,
Yeah.
he fall asleep, I'm gonna fall asleep, and then I
Yeah.
woke up really quick. Yeah.
You know what I would have done?
What?
And,
That's nice, Jim. Anyway,
Here's what I would have done.
'Kay.
You fall asleep on my couch, you get my nuts rubbed on your face.
this is why I will not be sharing this episode with my audience. If someone falls asleep in my office, I'll say, "Man, they must be tired," and I'll use a nice empathetic
I
phrase.
would have. If it were my office, the sign would clearly state right
Terms
behind
and
my head.
conditions.
You just lost 1 million downloads, my friend. I was going to promote this before. Now
He's
I'll
gonna
just
go
say,
on there and delete the live on Facebook.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's too late. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah.
What are
A
we
million
doing on-
downloads.
What are we doing on
Gone.
time?
An hour
Dead.
six.
Top 200? No, thank you. I'll say inappropriate things while Tony's on my show.
Oh God, that just cracks me up.
I have never had the E by my show. Do you know this?
Oh, every one of ours has it.
Yeah.
And
Do you know this is another thing that I don't know if you remember back in the day, but so I committed to not saying
Yeah.
that when I was like 16. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with anything other than I think my mom challenged me at one point, and I was like, all right.
She
now I'm
said,
like
no balls you won't.
35 years in, right?
Yeah.
But there was a time.
Yeah.
The only time I've said a bad word,
Yeah.
you made me.
Oh.
That
Wow. Is this an
on
exclusive?
next week's episode.
Oh. Because I don't remember.
I know. I do. It scarred me. That's the only time ever.
I will say this.
Yeah.
You messed the guy up that fixes people that are messed up.
I will say this. I have been trying to get Tony to blow a drink gasket
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
for
Yeah,
years.
this is true. He would wait for me to start drinking and say something
and
funny.
because we would do it to each other all the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Since
haven't
you-
been able to do it.
Since you guys haven't been hanging
He
out.
has
it's
this.
me.
He
Yeah.
does
Oh,
this
no.
thing. He does this thing where he drinks. You say something funny. He goes,
I would.
and then he does this.
That is the ultimate in control.
Yeah.
Is being able to then get that down without.
It's like being
I
able to
can't do
pee
that.
in the snow your name, but not in cursive.
I don't think that's even remotely relevant.
It's control.
That might
I
be the
understand
worst.
what you're saying.
I
Actually,
don't. That might
do.
actually be the worst analogy I've
'Cause
ever heard.
You can't disconnect the letters.
Yeah, not. That's what I'm saying. That's called control,
I do
bro.
see. I see what he means, but I don't see how it fits. Here.
Thank you.
Yes.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And yeah, as a therapist, I have the final say.
If you can
All
do
right.
that, though, please explain how that works.
It's called control. Boy,
Again,
He's got a valve or
You're
something?
missing 1 million downloads. If you want to continue down this path,
that's
and
why
the
it's
light
at,
comes on.
That's why it's at the end of the show.
Okay, wait. Who just? That was kind of scary. The
I
light
think
just came
a
on in the garage.
Bug.
A bug.
Yeah.
1 million downloads, Jimmy.
So anyway,
So either the title of this is "Did you just say I love you?" or it's "We missed 1 million downloads."
I'm just title it F.
F.
Yeah. Do you know?
F.
Do you know what that is?
I don't even want to comment.
F is like pay your respects.
Oh.
When you lose, it's like
Okay.
a gaming thing. When you lose,
Oh.
everybody puts an F in the chat.
Did they really?
For like paying her, yes. And what that stemmed off of is there was a Call of Duty game where you
So am
were,
I coming back next week, Jim?
The dead guy's in the
Yeah.
casket, and then you're supposed to press F to pay the respects in the game, and then it just became something else. So
You know what?
when
I've
you,
also-
when you hear
yeah.
us saying Fs
Yeah.
in this thing, that's what that is.
You know, I've also mastered the art of
What?
acting like I'm paying attention while I'm not paying attention. It's amazing when someone
Do they
says,
teach you
is-
that in therapy?
"Yeah, they do."
school?
It
Oh,
is. It's very.
You know,
Okay, yes, yes.
most of this conversation, he's already, it's gone. He's thinking about something else for tomorrow.
Oh, I'm at home right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's every once in a while. You get
He's
the-
diagnosing it. Well, he's just continuing the
Jim
continuing
is the
diagnosis.
reason that I got into therapy because I'm like, man, I'm really good at diagnosing stuff. Like, you know.
Well, I remember going to eat places,
Yeah.
and we would play a little game of what's that guy into?
Oh.
That sounds fun.
Oh, it's hilarious when you just make up some
Do you-
funny shit.
I do remember that. Do you
Yeah.
remember too? I remember being at Macworld and just I got one of the workers there to tell me all about his marriage and whatever. Do you remember this at all?
No.
Yeah, that was I just
Like a Macworld.
like the guys that would roll in the booth stuff.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a union guy.
Yeah, and I remember it was part of I was talking with Rich, and I mean I really felt like that
You
led to
connected
the
with him?
yeah. Well, I felt like I could do that just for fun, and so then I was like, all right, watch, and I go over and talk to him for a while, and I come back and he's like, he's really struggling with his wife. He's got this new tattoo. You know, he's got a kid. Whatever.
He's got this new tattoo.
Yeah.
No wonder why he's struggling with his wife.
I know.
Because he
Do you have
spent
any
his
tattoos?
No, I do not.
He spent his rent money on a tattoo.
Yeah. That would have been funny. That would have been an exclusive, right? I've got a ginormous tattoo on my back of New Kids on the Block.
The virtual couch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not.
All right. Well,
We're
this
at
is
1 hour, 10 minutes. 50
yeah.
seconds.
This is
What in the-
this is where we call it quits right in here.
Thank you.
Oh.
No, I'm just
That's what
kidding.
she said.
Oh. Well.
I'm just kidding. Million downloads
Considering
in
we
the toilet.
considering we're running a little bit long here, we'll call it quits for tonight.
Okay.
We'll catch up some more next week
Okay.
when we have Tony back.
And,
Hopefully.
and I will process the story around the one time I said a bad word and Jim made me do it.
yeah, I
hope this
want to
is a
know
very
because
developed
I don't
story.
recall this, and I need to have
Yeah.
closure.
I think about it often. I'm scarred.
All right.
I was never going to talk about it again, but I need to process it.
Do you want me to find you a therapist that you can?
I just
about
talk to
that with?
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's, okay.
All right,
that working?
everybody. We're calling it quits. Thanks for listening.
Hey,
Well,
thanks for having me. This was a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.